So this is something, a little concept I just had to explore. It'll put us in the mood for, hopefully, put us in the mood for our meditation. So this is just called the lecture. A hush fell over the hall. Not the hush of awe or respect, but that brittle silence wealthy people perform when they're waiting for someone to praise them. Crystal glasses clink softly on silver trays. Laughter from earlier cocktails mingling still clung to the corners of the room, dying a slow, smug death. The man at the lectern was not what they expected. He didn't wear the sharp tuxedo the event coordinator had suggested. He wore a dark grey wool blazer, slightly frayed at the cuffs, with a collar that looked as though it had once battled a thunderstorm and lost. His tie was absent, presumed AWOL. His shoes were brown leather, worn smooth and shiny, not from polish, but from years of walking. A low murmur stirred from the crowd. Stockbrokers, developers, politicians, legacy heirs, philanthropists who always seemed to have their names just a little too large on the buildings they funded. They sat expectantly, leaning back into their chairs, ready for the comforting hum of accolades, ready to be told again that they were the visionaries, the saviours, the titans of industry. The man looked out at them and waited. He let the silence spread like water seeping into dry ground. And then he leaned forward. Thank you for the heart, me. Tonight, I was asked to speak to you about success, he said, his voice low and clear. But what you meant, I suspect, was wealth. Some smiled, a few laughed, expecting a joke to follow. There wasn't one. I was asked to talk about vision, about ambition, about how I, once poor, now less so, navigated the treacherous waters of capitalism and came out shiny and clean. But I won't do that. Not because I can't, but because it's bullshit. Chairs shifted. One woman tilted her head, her diamond earrings catching the light. Let me tell you what matters. Not your offshore holdings, not your trust funds, not your $500 bottles of wine. That all taste the same once you've forgotten how to appreciate a sunset. A silence, now of unease. What matters is family. And I don't mean perfect families. I mean the kind that call you at 2 a.m. because they're scared or lonely or just need to hear your voice. The kind you show up for even when it's hard. The kind that makes you wrestle with yourself and become someone better, not richer. A man in the second row crossed his arms defensively. A younger woman near the back leaned in, curious. What matters is friendship. Real, messy, inconvenient friendship. The kind where someone tells you the truth when it hurts. The kind where you laugh so hard you forget your own name. The kind that doesn't care what fucking car you drive. He paused, then continued quieter. What matters is love. Not polished, performative love. Not engagement rings the size of small planets, but the kind that sticks through illness, poverty, disappointment, even death. the kind that grows slowly, steadily, without applause or accolades. He looked around at the faces now, some frowning, some thoughtful. What matters is nature, the kind of silence you find in a forest, the smell of rain on soil, the sound of birds you never bothered to name, and the deep, ancient sense that the world does not need you to be rich, to be whole. A scoff rose from somewhere to his left. He ignored it. What matters is this planet. Not just because it's on fire, not just because it's melting or flooding or collapsing, but because it's the only one we got. And we treat it like a throwaway cup. He leaned forward now, his voice gaining heat. And what matters, what really matters, is this. You were born with a dream inside you. A fire, a story, a music that only you could hear. But somewhere along the way, you sold it. You replaced it with a job title, with equity, with polite applause. And I'm here to tell you, get it back. The room was utterly still. The silence had changed. It was no longer brittle. It was electric. Because at the end of your life, when the machines are louder than your breath, no one is going to read your fucking net worth aloud. No one is going to list your properties. They're going to remember how you made them feel, what you stood for, who you loved, and whether you lived fully, truly, recklessly in pursuit of something real. Not just numbers on a spreadsheet. He stepped back from the lectern. And if you haven't yet, start now. You have time, but not as much as you'd think. The man turned and walked off the stage. No music played, no applause came, at least not immediately. He dropped the mic on his way out. But in the third row, a woman slowly uncrossed her arms. And now in the back, a young man put down his phone. And for the first time that evening, the wealthy were quiet. Not because they were waiting to be praised, because something real had cracked the surface of their facades, and they didn't know what to do with it. Suddenly, one man on the third row stood up and started a slow hand clap. And then another, and another. The penny had finally dropped. The whole room was on its feet and clapping for all it was worth. It lasted 10 minutes, but alas, no encore was given. In the dressing room, the speaker sipped at a mineral water and smiled as he put back on his hobo's clothes and slipped out of the fire escape. What do you think of that?